So, on behalf of Athletics Canada, I would like to welcome you all here and thank you so much during an Olympic week to be joining us for a rules update. My name is Jane Edstrom, and I will be presenting tonight. And these are rules over the past, about 3 years. And I'd like to give credit to Brian Rowe from Australia. This is an abbreviated version of all the rules update that we prepared or that he prepared for the gold referees who had to recertify this past fall. So I have streamed it down. Some of the slides that are just simply wordsmithing and really the bulk of the rule never changed. We're not going to go over those, but we are going to go over the main rule changes. There's only about 36 slides, so we're going to hopefully be done in under an hour. But since there isn't a multitude of slides, tonight, if you have a question, please put your hand up or I don't know if Serge has locked you out so that you can't talk, but put your hand up and we will answer the question regarding that slide right away. And then it makes it then everybody knows what everybody's talking about. So please, if you have questions or clarifications throughout, do not hesitate to ask. Okay, great. We can't go forward. Here we go. Now, interpreting the slides, this is just a little bit of a key for you. The black type or font will be what the current rule says. The red type is added wording or new rule. The blue type indicates a deleted part of the rule. Purple, all it means is the rule is still there, it just changed locations in the rule book. A paler green type is added wording to the green text. And remember, at the end of a rule, there's green text that was from the old referee book where it sort of explained what was going on. The darker green type indicates deletion from green text, and the orange type is complementary on a rule change or an addition commentary, sorry. And I don't expect you to remember all these, but just so you know, there's different colors so that it's a little better explanation of what's happening in the rule. First, we'll go through competition rules. There's not a whole lot of those. But the first one is Rule 12, dealing with jury of appeal. At all competitions organized under paragraphs 1A, B, C, and 2A and B of the World Rankings Competition definition, a jury of appeal, which normally consists of 3, 5, or 7 persons, may be appointed. So it's no longer mandatory to have a jury of appeal at a meet, but I would say at your national championships or the larger meets, a jury of appeal is still going to be assembled. But now the organizing body has the option of do they want to have a jury or not? The next one has to do with referees, and it is a clarification of if 2 referees are involved in a decision, who trumps who. So effort shall be made to reach consensus among the referees. However, when no final consensus can be reached, the video referee shall have the final decision based on the available video images, except in cases concerning starts, where the final decision shall be made by the starts referee. Now, normally, there's collaboration among the referees. They discuss and they come to a consensus. Once again, if that can't be reached, then it's the video referee that has the final decision. Of course, if you do not have a video referee, then it will be the track and or field referee who is going to be the one that is going to be making the final decision. This rule is there to give clear direction between the respective roles of referees, where there may be a difference of opinion, especially if there's no jury of appeal. This provides advice to the referees as to who has the final decision, depending on the circumstances of the case. But remember, if it has to do with a start, it's always a start referee that's going to have the final say there. This isn't really a rule change, it's a rule clarification. Under the abbreviations for results, the little r, or retired from the competition, is meant for field events only. It should not be used for combined events because for an entire combined events competition, somebody retiring from an entire combined events competition, it's to be described as DNS in the following event, which would then result in a DNF in the combined events competition. So the retire is for field events. And oftentimes I think in field events, what we do is it ends up being like a pass. But just so you're clear, combined events, you don't retire from a combined events competition. You can retire through the referee, but all it means is the following event will be DNS and the whole combined event competition then will be DNF. This is a more a clarification to reflect what is happening in competition environments. And it is addition to the call room judges' green text. In the larger meets where the warm-up area and the call room are a fair distance apart, there's a gathering point at the warm-up area where the athletes go report in, and then they're all escorted to the major call room. So this is making the gathering point an official part of the call room schedule. And it states where a gathering point is provided, all athletes shall report to this location. The gathering point shall be considered part of the call room, and all entry times shall be made available to the athletes and teams in advance. An initial check of athletes' bibs, bags, or other relevant items may be made at the gathering point. From the gathering point, athletes shall be escorted by appointed officials or volunteers to the main call room, where all remaining checks, in accordance with the applicable rules and regulations, shall be completed. In some of the larger world championships, it means not just escorted, you're actually taken by golf carts or whatever else because it is a fair distance. Now we're moving on to the technical rules, the meat of the rule book. The first one has to do with TR5, which deals with clothing, shoes, and athletes' bibs. It's simply an addition to the green text. And here's a heads up for you race walks judges, as well as call room judges and chief judges. In race walking events, athletes shall not wear clothing that prevents a clear and complete view of the knee area. However, to be clear, long tights that are adherent to the athlete's legs are acceptable. And the commentary is, this further explains how this rule should be applied to race walking events so that the judges have a clear view of the athlete's legs. Now we're moving on to TR 5.2, which has to do with shoes and whether you wear them on one or both feet.
What?
The the rule states athletes may compete either barefoot or in athletic shoes on one or both feet. Athletes must comply with all regulations relating to wearing of athletic shoes approved by the council. For shoe control, specific information is provided in the shoe control guidelines, which may be downloaded from the World Athletics website. In particular, no sole thickness measurements are expected to be conducted during shoe control. unless a referee is suspect that somebody's wearing shoes that are the soles are too thick.
Louise, I have a
Louise, yeah, I,
question.
I noticed Louise had her hand up. Louise, what can we do for
Finish
you?
this one and then it was to do with the previous one, so finish this discussion.
Oh, I don't know that we have any more discussion.
Okay,
You want me to go back then?
please.
I
So
can't
for the
find my cursor. Oh, here we are. Okay. Okay, it's a you mean
the call
this?
room,
Yes. Okay.
yes. So when does the failure to check in on time come into play? For the main call room or for the gathering point?
Gathering point. Because the gathering point is the first point of reporting in.
Okay, okay,
No
thank you.
problem. Good question. I mean, this is a time to clarify these things, not when you're in the middle of a meet and you have coaches breathing down your neck and whatever else. But
So
this is,
what's the logic behind they're calling it a gathering point as opposed to call room one, call room two?
it's just nomenclature. Uh,
Okay,
it's World Athletics has been calling it sort of the gathering point for about the past 2 or 3 years. So it's now, part of the rule book. But if you'd like, it could be call room one.
yeah, just the
No
question was
problem.
when does the time start? All right,
Oh,
thank you.
at the gathering point, because this is part of the call room schedule. Okay, the gathering point, you're to report there at, whatever time. Then you're transported to, call room, the final call room, and then you're transported to the field of play. So it's all part of the call room schedule now.
Okay.
You're just testing me to see if I can find I keep losing my cursor, that's all. Okay, everybody listen up now, especially you track referees, because this is a super illustration of relay events and if yellow or red cards are given, what happens and what's going on. So TR7, which it has to do with warnings and disqualification, there is new green text and it's examples of relays of what's going on. Because initially, when warning or cards were given to relay team members, they weren't assigned to the person themselves. It was only assigned to the team and they didn't follow the person around. Well, they've changed that because look what the solid green says. Rule 7.3 shall also be applied to an athlete whose second warning in the competition incurred in the relay race or who had a direct exclusion in the relay race that led to the disqualification of the team. So here's some examples. Hold your questions till we go through the three examples, and then let's see if you still have a question. Example one. Athlete A gets a yellow card in an individual event. Athlete A gets another yellow card in a relay race. The result is athlete A gets a red card, which is a result of the two yellow cards, and is disqualified. And the relay team gets disqualified. So the athlete cannot continue in the competition, and the relay team gets disqualified. Example two now. Athlete A gets a yellow card in an individual event. Athlete B gets a yellow card in a relay race. The result is no further action because it's just yellow cards and it's two different people. Example three. Athlete A gets a yellow card in an individual event. Athlete B gets a yellow card in a relay race. Athlete C gets a yellow card in the same relay race. What is the result? The relay team gets a red card, which is a result of two yellows, thus gets disqualified, but the individual athletes may still continue to compete in other events. Now I'll pause, let you ponder for a moment, see if anybody has any questions or if you need a clarification. We okay? Laurel has her hand raised. Laurel.
It's just a quick question. So my voice is a bit scratchy. So when athlete A says gets a yellow card in an individual event, so that means either 100 meters or something where they're on their own. But what if athlete A was in a different relay race with a different team and then came in another relay race with another different team, if that makes sense? Like,
No, no problem. Laurel, good question. Think of that initial relay race as like the individual event.
okay,
Okay. Like we were just trying to illustrate whether the athlete can continue competing or if the relay team gets, disqualified. But good question, because all we've talked about is individual events. So if I'm in a 4x1 and a 4x4, let's say, in the first 4x1, I get a yellow card, and now I run again in a 4x4 and I get a yellow card. The second relay, then I would be, I no longer compete and I would disqualify my relay team.
okay,
Okay.
thank you. Thanks.
No, no, good, excellent, because nobody else has thought of that. What if it's two relays, not just individual? Great. Any other questions on this? Okay. Well, oh, Lisa,
Right.
raise your hand.
So yeah, so I think I put like a celebration. That was an accident.
Oh,
Um, so sorry, like in my car listening. So I just wanted to clarify to just to expand on that. So that would be example one. So that means I forgot who maybe Laura said. So if that same athlete is in a second relay, which is the 4x4, for example, so they have two yellow cards, the first relay team is disqualified, but
no,
then
no, 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 they're not, because there's only one yellow card so far.
no, for example one.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay, so the relay team gets disqualified. Say the 4x4, the 4x1 gets disqualified, but but athlete A is also a participant in the 4x400 relay. So that team also gets um
No,
disqualified because of athlete A.
no, no,
Oh,
Lisa,
okay.
if example one, if athlete A gets two red cards, or sorry, two yellow cards, which equals a red, the
Right.
relay team, the 4x1 is disqualified, and athlete A doesn't get to compete anymore.
Oh,
It would be
okay. Yeah.
impossible for them to be in the 4x4 because they have a red card, which means they no longer compete in that competition.
Right. Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No problem. This is what we're here for, to clarify. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on. All right, this is simply changing names of things due to transgender and the definitions of males and females in the World Athletics Rulebook. Okay? So the TR3, which is a male and a female category, have been amended. So therefore, TR9, which used to say mixed competition, is now going to say competition classification. And all it's going to say is the red, which is below. And it is, there's going to be the following classification of results. There's going to be men's competition. There's going to be women's competition. There's going to be mixed competition, where mixed competition covers events in which men and women participate together without separate classification of results, as well as relay, or team events in which both men and women are included in the same teams. Note, mixed competitions are permitted in accordance with the applicable regulations of the relevant body. So all this says is mixed is the old universal. Okay? So think of universal is now called mixed. And I know you're all going to say, but, it's coming. I'm going to explain further. While male and female categories are defined in Rule 3 of the technical rules, refer to the eligibility of athletes to compete. The competition classification is defined in this Rule 9.1, which talks about results. There may be a classification for men only, for women only, or for mixed classification. As a result of the amendments to TR3, which is male and female categories, new rules 9.2 and 9.3 have been inserted with accompanying new green text, while the previous 9.2 is renumbered to 9.4. See the next slide for 9.4. And that will tell us about mixed. TR 9.2 now reads, athletes may be classified in the men's or mixed competition classification if they are eligible to compete in the male category. Athletes are classified in the women's or mixed competition classification if they are eligible to compete in the female category. In mixed competitions, male and female athletes compete for a single classification of results. So think of the 4x1, the 4x4, the mixed relay teams. 9.3 is new now. Simultaneous competition. Covers events in which men and women participate together with separate men's and women's classification of results. So think about the 5,000 field events where you don't have enough athletes of male or female to carry out the competition. So you combine the two, but you have two separate result sheets. So for the 5,000 or 10,000, let's say men and women run together, but the results are separated out into men and women. It's the old mixed, right? And now in the rule book for simultaneous events, they have changed the name to concurrent. All right, just so you know, you're not going to get confused with all these things. So if I'm in a field event and I'm in a track event at the same time, we all know that track takes precedence over field, that I tell the referee, could you change the order? I'll be right back. I go run my 100, I come back and finish long jump. All right, that's concurrent events. Simultaneous competition is men and women competing together with two separate sets of results. Hopefully we haven't confused you on that. Now, this I told you is the next slide. It's 9.4, which used to be 9.2, and it referred to mixed competition. I'm not going to read through all this. All it is, it's the old mixed competition rule, and they've changed everything to simultaneous competition. Okay, so the rule is the same, it's just simultaneous. All right, for you starters out there, this once again isn't a rule change, but it is a clarification. So the present rule is talking about the frame of the starting block. No part of the starting block shall overlap the start line. The rear part of the frame may extend beyond the outer lane in the case of a 400 or 200, right? Because they want that that proper angle, provided it doesn't impede, anybody in the outer lane. The reason, well, and then added green part is to be clear, the requirement that no part of the starting block shall overlap the start line includes the frame. So just because the foot pads aren't past, the start line doesn't matter. No part of the starting block can be past the start line, just like your hands can't be past the start line. And the reason that the commentary to clarify that the frame of the starting blocks may not overlap or extend in front of the start line. I guess there was some debate worldwide about, can this happen? No, it may not. This is a clarification of what a starter's own language is and what it actually meant. 16.2 in regard to the start and languages to be used has been changed. In competitions under paragraphs 1A, B, C, D, and 2D of the World Rankings competition definition, the commands of the starter shall be given in English only. Those are the big major meets, Olympics, World Championships. In all other competitions, the commands of the starter shall be given in the local language, in English or in French. The previous note should be part of the rule, and to be clear that if a starter is from abroad, the command should be given in the local language, not in the own language of the starter. So if a man or if a person from, let's guess a country, from Portugal goes to France to start the race, it's started in English or French. It is not started in Portuguese, which happens to be the own language of the starter. It's the local language. Or in the case of the Tokyo World Championships last year, it could be, well, not the World Championships, but in a smaller meet, in a test event, you might be able to speak in Japanese, but you can't come in there and speak in Portuguese. In any race, when under Rule 16.5 of the technical rules, the starter is not satisfied that all is ready for the start to proceed after the athletes are on their marks or they otherwise abort the start, the command, now in English, shall be to stand up. The start. Now, this is a little bit of a change, a revision. So starters, listen up and beware. We're talking about Rule 16.5 and 16.5.3, where an athlete, in the judgment of the starter, after the commands on your marks or set, disturbs one or more athletes in the race through sound, movement, or otherwise, regardless of whether it is resulting in athletes committing what would otherwise be a false start, the starter shall abort the start. In the case of Rule 16.5.1 or 16.5.2 of the technical rules, the referee may warn the athlete for improper conduct, disqualifying the case of a second infringement, according to Rule 7.1 and 7.3. A green card shall not be shown. So just to be clear, if on a start a yellow or red card is shown, then the green card doesn't come up. The only time a green card will come out is if there's no other warnings, or if nobody's being charged with anything. In case of Rule 16.5.3 of the technical rules, if the movement or action of the athlete results in one or more athletes committing what would otherwise be a false start, the referee may warn the offending athlete for improper conduct, disqualifying the case of a second infringement, Otherwise, a green card shall be shown. However, in case of repeated movements by the same athlete at multiple aborted starts, even if they don't result in one or more athletes committing what would otherwise be a false start, the referee may still warn the offending athlete for improper conduct or disqualifying in the case of a second infringement. So if an athlete keeps disturbing the start, even if it doesn't cause a false start, the referee may award them with yellow or red cards. And then the rest of the rule about extraneous reasons is still there. I'm not going to go through that because that didn't change. And the commentary on that is to clarify the conditions when a race might be recalled and to be precise about the conditions when yellow or red cards can be issued. And we all remember too that the only person on a start line who can grant yellow or a red card is the start referee. This one is for TDs. It's just the ability. The rule is the same with the exception of an added note 2 that technical delegates or the organizers may divert from the use of any such tables, and they're referring to the rounds and qualification procedures. Those tables, if it is considered appropriate to provide more content to the event or better competition conditions to the athletes. And note 2 becomes note 3 because we added note 2. This provides better flexibility in the arrangement of qualification rounds. Not a major change, but now more and more tracks around the world have 9 lanes. And there is a bit of confusion as to how do the lane draws work if you've got 9 lanes. I think we're all clear that when at all possible with 9 lanes, we don't use lane 1 at all. But in the rule book now, it's actually stated for 8 lanes and 9 lanes how the draws work. So for straight races or flat races, we're talking hundreds, hurdles, 110 hurdles, 100 hurdles. If you have 8 lanes, it's still the same. We've got 3 draws. The primary lanes are 3, 4, 5, 6. The second draw is for lane 2 and 7, and the third draw is for lane 1 and 8. Now, if you have 9 lanes, you end up having 4 draws because the 3 primary lanes for the 3 highest ranked athletes are going to be 4, 5, 6. Then just think you're working out. So my second draw is going to be for lanes 3 and 7. My third draw is going to be for lane 2 and 8. And my final draw for the 2 lowest ranked athletes will be lane 1 and 9, the outside lanes. Now we're talking 200 or 300 meter races, 8 lanes. As before, the 3 highest ranked athletes get placed in lanes 5, 6, and 7. The second draw is for lanes 3, 4, and 8. And the final for the 2 lowest ranked in those oval races, nobody wants to be in lane 1 or 2. Now, if we have 9 lanes, we are going to have still only 3 draws, but there are 4 prime lanes. So the first draw is for the 4 highest ranked athletes in lanes 5, 6, 7, and 8. The next draw is for lanes 3, 4, and 9. And as usual, the final draw for the 2 lowest are for lanes 1 and 2. Moving, Louise, we're going to should I do 400 or do you want to talk now?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay, for the 400s, once again for 4 and 800s, if we have 8 lanes, the first draw for the four highest ranked athletes, it's lane 4, 5, 6, and 7. Second draw is for the 5th and 6th, which is lanes 3 and 8. And the two lowest get lane 1 and 2. Again, here we've got 4 draws for 9 lanes for a 4x4, 400, or 800-meter race. So the first draw is for lanes 5, 6, and 7. The second draw is for lanes 4 and 8. Just think of working out again like that 200. The next one is 3 and 9. And the last one is lanes 1 and 2 because oval races don't like those lanes. Louise, what can we do for you?
So this makes it sound like we are automatically going to advance 9 athletes now.
Oh, no, Louise, sorry. If in the case you were going to use all 9 lanes, then yes. Otherwise, the last draw, the 2 lowest ranked athletes, well, it'd be the lowest ranked athlete would get lane 2, not lane 1.
Okay. Thank you.
But good question or clarification. We're just in the case you were going to use all 9 lanes, this is how it would work. The primary lanes are still going to be the same. The first couple draws would be the same. It's just that last draw might be different. They would be in lane 2. They wouldn't be in lane 1 because we're not going to use that if at all possible. I saw another hand go up.
Yeah, that was me, Zach Durand. Yeah, I guess my question would be, is it with the 8 or 9 lanes on the track, or is it with 8 or 9 athletes in the race? Because for the previous ones, let's say the 100-meter with 9 lanes, then if you only have 8 athletes, then the last athlete would be in either 1 or 9.
Right. And you know what? In the straight races, honestly, Zach, does it really matter whether you're in lane 1 or 9? But it means with the number of lanes, not the number of athletes. So if you have a 9-lane track, you go according to the 9-lane rule. If you have 8 lanes, you go according to the 8-lane rule.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you're right. You know, like for the flat races, your last draw is for lane 1 or 9. Well, I mean, honestly, really, does it really matter? In the oval races, it sure does. But in the flat races, not so much. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thanks.
No problem. Next one is to do with hurdle races. Now that the 300-meter distance is being recognized by World Athletics. So we need to know the distance between hurdles and we need to know the heights of hurdles. Now, the good news is, first of all, 300-meter hurdle races shall have 7 flights of hurdles in each lane. And the good news is 300 and 400-meter hurdles are similar, except for the distance to the first hurdle. So in 300-meter hurdles, it's 50 meters to the first hurdle. In 400, it's 45 meters to the first hurdle. But then the distances between the hurdles and the distance to the last finish line are the same. All right. So there's only one new distance to remember. And also, I know it's difficult to remember hurdle heights for the different classifications. So no new news here. 300-meter hurdles and 400-meter hurdles are the same for heights for each one of the different classifications. So no new news there. But it's now in the rule book, so you don't have to remember. Now we're talking relay races, and there's some additional green text for rules 24.4 and 24.5. Let's look at 24.4 first. We're talking about the one piece of adhesive tape that the athletes are allowed as a check mark if they're running in lanes, like for a 4x1. We all know that that piece of tape is 5 centimeters by 40 centimeters, and it's a single piece of tape. But to fall in line with field events, the adhesive tape, otherwise complying with this rule, may be torn into one or more pieces to make a single marker of a different shape to stand out more clearly. So if the umpire hands an athlete a piece of 5 by 40 tape, and they rip it up and they make a square on the track, or they make a triangle, or they make a star, as long as it's one mark and they don't rip it, 5 times and they've got 5 markers down the track. All right. That's not the intent of the rule. But with all the lines on the track, sometimes athletes have trouble designating where their mark is and what it is. And this, if you think of a high jump fan or takeoff area, there are many pieces of tape. Some officials give them, colored tape, but it's hard. What's my mark and what's your mark? And the athletes there are allowed to rip their tape and they make a triangle or a star or a square or whatever. So relay teams are allowed this same grace. But once again, it's one mark. You can't have two or three. 24.5 just says athletes are not permitted to wear gloves or to place, other than those permitted in Rule 6.4.3, substances on their hands or on the baton in order to obtain a better grip on the baton. If an athlete does not follow this rule, their team shall be disqualified. So it just gives a consequence for if they break the rule. Here's one that I think you track referees and anybody who's had to judge a relay exchange zone is going to like. We are talking about recovering a dropped baton. If dropped, the baton shall be recovered by the athlete who dropped it. No change there. They may leave their lane to retrieve it, provided that by doing so, they do not lessen the distance to be covered and no other athlete is impeded while retrieving the baton. And when crossing the finish line, the baton shall be carried by the relevant athlete. If the athlete does not follow this rule, their team shall be disqualified. And the reason we have crossed off the athlete has to go back to where the baton was dropped, to leave the runway, and all these other things. For an athlete, it's very difficult to adhere to the current rule and to know amidst the hectics of the race where exactly the baton was dropped. Also, for officials, it is, without video recording, a very difficult rule to judge. The athlete or team, anyhow, has been significantly disadvantaged by dropping the baton. So this is, once again, they can't lessen the distance. They can't hinder another athlete. But now you don't have to worry about where exact spot did they, drop it, and et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully that makes judging this a little easier. We're talking relay races still. These are just two additions to the list of relay races that we offer. Mixed relays were more or less just in the regulations before. And now we're adding the 4x1 mixed, and we're also designating what the order of running should be. So it has to be composed of 2 men, 2 women, and the running order shall be man, woman, man, woman. Same thing with the 4x4. It's composed of 2 men, 2 women, and the running order shall be man, woman, man, woman. When first provided for in March 2025, the order of the 4x1 mixed was woman, woman, man, man. It has now been changed to improve broadcast clarity, athlete preparation, and excitement while promoting gender equity. The insertion of the above two rules necessitates a consequent renumbering of subsequent rule number within Rule 24, which has to do with relay races. These should be noted, especially when reporting the different infringements within Technical Rule 24. The 4x4 provision was previously only in the regulations for the various competitions. A decision was also made to specifically refer to 4x1 mixed and 4x4 mixed wherever the 4x1 and the 4x400 meter is referred anywhere in the rules. And this has no particular implications. All right, now we're on to field events. Aren't very many changes here. Once again, this is not really a rule change. It's a clarification or a way of conducting the event. We all know that a few years ago in pole vault, the rule was changed. Once the time for the trial is started, no further change in the position of the crossbar is allowed. In other words, you can't change your depth. In the case of consecutive trials, the judges should check with the athlete if they wish to change the position of the crossbar before the time their next trial begins. This is a courtesy, as well as it shouldn't be a race to see how fast can you replace the bar and get the time clock running, because it's not fair to the athlete. They need to talk to their coach. They need to figure out whether they need a depth change or are they going to remain the same. This is true also when you have 2 to 3 athletes left at the end of the event, because their trials are going much faster now. They need to go talk to their coaches. So please check with them, but it's a give and take. They can't wait forever to come back and tell you either, do they want a depth change or not. So they can't extend the competition, but check in with them. Try to be courteous. Throwing events, we've just changed the location of one of the rules. In 32.4, under things that shall not be allowed or they're considered assistance, we've added the spitting or application by other means of human body fluids on any implement. So just a reminder here, human body fluids on any implement is not acceptable. And that means an athlete can't spit on their hand and then put their hand on the implement, because they're still putting human body fluids on the implement. So have them wipe off the implement, clean it off, and it could be a warning as well. There's an added here, or this has been a rule for many years, but it's just a clarification. The placement by an athlete in the javelin throw on the implement of chalk or similar substance is not allowed. The only 2 implements that you can put chalk directly on the implement is shot and discus. The athlete's allowed to put chalk on their hand, provided there isn't an excess of chalk on the hand, because obviously there's going to be a little chalk on the implement. Then, life can go on. But if there's an excess, you can ask the athlete to stop, clean the grip off, and this is all within their time. So it's just the addition of 32.4.6 is considered an editorial for clarity to bring it in line with only shot put and discus being allowed to put chalk on the implement. This one's an interesting one. It actually came into play in Tokyo, but it's just a note under the rule 32.4.4, which refers to the spraying or spreading by an athlete of any substance in the circle or on their shoes, nor the roughening of the surface of the circle is not allowed. Okay, so I can't spray stickum on my shoes, or I can't spray anything in the circle. But there's a note. The placement by an athlete of tape to the outside of a throwing shoe is acceptable. See also the shoe regulations. Any such application should be shown to the chief judge before the athlete's first or next trial. In Tokyo, very final day, men's discus final, it was pouring rain and the athletes were having trouble gripping the circle. And the question came up from the referees around the discus circle, can they place tape on their shoes? And it came through loud and clear from the TDs as well as from World Athletics that yes, this was allowed. It's now in the rules. So yes, the athletes may. Now, if it leaves a residue in the circle, then the referee might say that the tape has to come off. But as long as there's nothing left in the circle that would hinder the following athlete, then it's allowed. Now we're talking about hammer throw, and it's just a little addition of a note and what the purpose of the note is. It's under the description of the wire. So the description of the wire hasn't changed, but the note, a small section of clear vinyl tubing, 50 millimeters long with an internal diameter of 5 millimeters may be placed over the twisted ends of the hammer wire. The purpose of the tubing is to reduce the chance of the implement becoming caught in the cage netting and delaying the competition. Clear plastic tubing is required to be able to check the wire. And the commentary is to provide a better explanation for the purpose of the tubing. It's not a really huge change, but just a more or less a clarification. We have a short track change with the conduct of 800-meter races. For the start of the 800-meter races in lanes, it should be now a two-bend stagger. So they're going around two bends and then the break line occurs. So with the indoor championships coming up the end of February, just to bring everybody's attention to this one. And of course, hopefully the athletes are spread out a little bit more and there's less chance for collisions. Also to do with short track, we've got a change in how the 4x4 and 4x800 relay race second, third, and fourth legs are set up. So the waiting athletes in the second, third, and fourth legs of the 4x4, 4x400 mixed, and the 4x800 race shall, under the direction of a designated official, place themselves in their waiting position in the same order, inside to out, as the order of their respective team members as they pass the finish line to enter the last lap of their leg. Once the incoming athletes have passed this point, the waiting athletes shall maintain their order and shall not exchange positions at the beginning of the takeover zone. If an athlete does not follow this rule, their team shall be disqualified. To avoid any interference with the team members currently running, the waiting athletes should be placed in their order under the direction of the designated official on the outside of the track and only be led to their final waiting position on the track once the athlete of the last team has passed the finish line. So now instead of waiting to the opposite corner, beginning of the last bend, it's at the finish line that you're going to line the athletes up outside the track and then move them over as need be. So this gives us a little more time. It provides a finish line, or the starters' assistants, who are usually the ones that are in charge of putting them out on the track. It gives them a better view, way more time to get them organized before they have to go out. So it's a safety thing as well. Race walking, this is just, we've replaced the 20K and the 20,000 meter by the half marathon, and we replaced the 35,000 meter and the 35K by the marathon. And this came into effect last fall, November of 2025. Road races, just it's in the rule book now. They've got the exact to the centimeter of what a road mile is actually, the metric distance, and it's 1,609, 344 meters. So it's right down to the last little second there, and or last little centimeter, as well as they're recognizing 10 miles for road races because it has been it's been in existence since July of 2024. Joan, I saw a hand go up.
Sorry,
I
Jane.
just want to go back to your 4x4 and your 4x8 just for a second. I didn't want, unless you want to finish, and then I'll come back to it.
Sorry, Jane, I did mute you. Could you unmute yourself?
There, unmute me. Sorry, Joni, we're not entertaining questions past. Okay, sorry, I'm going back. Just so everybody can see it. Let's go back there. Walking. No, that's not what we want. We want this one, right? Okay, Joan. Yes.
I want to know in the 4x4, if you place them on at the start of their last lap going at the finish line, and there is a pass on the back straight is that a designated official allowed to go out and change the order if we have the information that we need in order to change them up or not?
No, you may not.
Thank you.
It's now, because it says once the incoming athletes have passed this point, the waiting athlete shall maintain their order and shall not exchange positions at the beginning of the takeover zone. So, and no, it now the designated spot is the finish line. And yeah, like, hey, we got 200 meters for things to change, but we don't change the order anymore. But good question. Because you're going to be one of those people putting them out there, aren't you? Okay, now we're going to move on. Just for the start of out-of-stadia races, this rule is the same for race walking, road races, cross-country races. Each of these rules has been amended in the identical manner, so I'm not going to say it, 3 different times. The race shall be started by the firing of a gun, cannon, or air horn by initiating another distinctive and unambiguous start signal suitable for the relevant competition. If not a gun, cannon, or air horn, the start signal shall be approved in advance by World Athletics. Or in the case of one of your, meets, it has to be approved by your governing body. Just, I don't know how many people are involved in mountain and trail races. Out here on the prairies, we don't do too many mountain races, but there is a significant restructuring to simplify the rule, making it clearer, removing the separation of mountain and trail, and ensuring that the rule covers all potential mountain and trail events. In addition, removal of detailed numbering. It may be simpler, and it is recommended to study the new rule rather than to compare what was there previously and what comprises TR 57 now. So, just a heads up, if you are involved in mountain and trail races, the rule has been combined. And that concludes the formal presentation. We would entertain, I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see your bright, shiny faces. And if you all want to put yourselves back on video now, and Serge, can you do a quick unmuting of everybody as well? Does anybody at the end now have any questions or clarifications? But before anybody speaks up, I'm going to say thank you very much once again for everybody that is attending tonight and taking an interest in the new rules. I'd like to thank Athletics Canada for hosting us, as well as for thank Serge for setting up the Zoom and getting us all organized. But thank you so much for joining tonight, and I hope that I did not confuse you. Anybody, any questions of any kind? Laurel has a raised hand.
Yeah, sorry. The Nationals and the Canadian Masters that are happening in Toronto in a few weeks. So these rules with regards to the 800 is going to be incorporated then. Okay. Because this past weekend, there was the Toronto U18 and Opium Championships, and unfortunately, the U18s were somewhat confused. Not all of them, but were somewhat confused by the new 800 rule cut-in. So we had a lot of infractions.
But
Okay.
Laura, just want to tell you that for the Master Championship, that's the update of the rule of the World Athletic. I mean, the Master has their own rule. If the rule on the Master Association is not there, that means we're applying that rule. But if there's something else on their rule book, on their Master rule book, that we're using the Master rule book for the Master Indoor.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Laura, just so you know, as I say that I put the kids on the track, I explained to every single kid where the new 800-meter cut-in was, and that they had to stay in their lane until there was a two-turn stagger. So if they didn't follow those rules, that was on them. They knew.
Yeah, just
Definitely.
to
But
echo
I
that
think,
point, the under 18s also include under 16. So there were some 14 and 15-year-old athletes there who had, and they never practiced it. So that's probably why there was so many that time for that second bend. They understood most of them on the second bend. So one of the things as coaches was we'll also practice that
Yeah.
so that they don't infringe.
Lisa has a question. Lisa, you have a
Lisa,
question?
just unmute yourself.
Yeah, you know how it goes with technology. You think you would get it together by now. Sorry, I'm in my car. But question for you, Jane. This is being recorded. The session's being recorded. Where will it be posted, or is it just for your own reference?
Will be
Okay, that's
posted.
a Serge question. That's not a Jane.
Oh, okay, Serge.
Will be posted.
Where exactly?
I need to check.
Oh, okay. So I guess you'll follow up with an email then where it will be posted? I'm just curious.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Because I've got to get back to the quad god. I haven't seen him skate today, so. But no, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.
Does anybody know whether sorry, Jane, in the OUAs, we're using the new relay